Hi everyone, going to do this allotment challenge part 2. I've come across the questions for it now. So alright, we'll crack on with that. So, first question, what aspect do you like most about your allotment? I don't know, it's an achievement. I like to achieve things, and I think of an allotment as, it's just full of achievements, and the more you can achieve, better, so yeah, I do it for achievements, because you kind of think I'll do it because I can, and you sow that little seed, you see it grow, and plus it's a whole new different environment as well. It's just nice and quiet, and you meet people from all walks of life, so it has its own community that comes with it as well. So yeah, yeah, I do enjoy, the basic, you get a lot back from it. But yeah, it's the achievement. I like to achieve things. I set myself a goal and aims, sometimes a bit higher than I can manage sometimes, but you're constantly trying to push yourself, to do that extra little bit. So that's question 1 covered. Question 2, what thing would you most like to add to my allotment? I could say a polytunnel, but I've got one here. I used to have one at my old allotment, but it was hard work having 2, if you know what I mean. I had one at home and then one at the allotment. So if anything, I'd like to actually get around to building this fruit cage. I think that would be a good asset, having a designated fruit spot that's caged. What do I dislike about my allotment? A couple of things really. It's not that close to me, it's a good 9 miles away, so obviously it's the cost effectiveness of it, fuel wise, to make sure you get the return really, but it's a hobby and you do things because you enjoy doing it as well, but it's a hobby with a comeback, if you know what I mean. So you put something in and you get something back. And all you're actually putting in mainly is your time, which you could be doing a lot worse. You could be just sat around all day doing nothing, which you have to do anyway, pouring it down most of the time. Right, what else? Oh yeah, it's an absolute swamp. For some reason I'm drawn to wet plots, but that's why I went solely raised bed on this one really, but all no dig and everything. And yeah, it makes things so much easier. What is the least favourite task on your allotment? Weeding. I hate weeding. That was my main reason for going no dig, because I could not believe the amount it reduced weeding. Instead of like going every week and having to hoe or sit and pick weeds out, it's like, well, I might be lucky if I have to do a bit once every month if I'm lucky, and it's a lot of times I can go 2 months without doing any weeding at all, and then you just spend like an hour weeding and that's it, done. The idea is to try and do it so I actually sow the stuff in trays and then I'll go and plant it straight in the ground, in no dig beds, and then I'll cover it over the net, and I don't really usually go back in most of the time until it's time to harvest, so it makes my life a lot easier. So you're actually there doing productive work rather than battling with nature all the time. How much do you spend on your allotment? How much time do I spend on my allotment per week? It varies through the year. Sometimes I'll go up. I tend to do things in big clusters. I'll go and because I don't have to be there all the time for watering. Because I'm a big believer in, if you keep watering things, they don't produce big roots to go down and find the water. The idea is water them in, and hopefully, provided it doesn't get too dry, the roots will go down deeper, and you'll have a better, a healthier plant, because it can find the water. In sudden droughts, it's got the roots deep enough to get down there. But it probably mounts up to no more than a couple of hours per week, to be honest. You know, I do as much as I can at home regarding sowing seed trays, you know, seeds in modules and all that lot, and then it's just a case of popping in the ground, which shouldn't take 10 minutes really. What is my best purchase for my allotment? Ooh, scaffold netting, debris netting. It's a brilliant purchase. It's cheap, get it off eBay, a nice big roll of it, and it has a couple of purposes. One, it stops the butterflies and a lot of other things getting into crops, and two, you use it around a fence on your plot. You will not believe how many seeds it catches. You know, if there's any neighbouring plots that don't, you know, look after their plots, the weed seeds go airborne, they come across, and a lot of them get stuck in it. This is why my nets I usually bring home in the winter months, and I put them in a great big wheelie bin and drown all the seeds over winter. You know, so they have months where they're actually submerged underwater, just so I don't go and shake them out all over my nice freshly topped up no dig beds, which I haven't done yet, and decide to germinate. You'll always get weeds, but yeah, so it's a great insect defence, it's a great seed defence, and it's also has thermal properties, and it also has it's a good windbreak as well. So that is probably a good purchase to have on a plot, is some scaffold netting. What was my best ever yield? Well, I answered that in the previous video. It was some potatoes, basically. It was stupid amounts. I planted them late. I found out everything was dying back, so I found out it was called blights, and I looked into it a bit more, and I thought, oh Christ, better go down and lop all the tops off quick, and didn't expect much. And so for a short season, with not very much prep work or anything, I got an amazing crop. I couldn't believe it. So that was my best ever crop as a surprise anyway. Best planned crop is probably, you know, the big onions. It's nice to sort of like go like, oh, it's a good crop of onions there, you know. I'm expecting another best crop to come in the future, you know, at some point. That's question 9. What do I do when I'm not gardening? What's my occupation? Well, I'm a plumber stroke heating engineer. That is my actual job. Work for myself. But I also am skilled at repairing cars. I used to be a panel beater and a sprayer before I did plumbing. So I've been doing plumbing for 16 years now, and I don't intend changing it ever again, unless if I retire into something probably to do with like gardening, maybe a nursery sort of thing, you know. I'd probably like to retire into something like that. Other than gardening, what other hobbies do I have? Well, I've had quite a few hobbies, to be honest, and I've given a lot up because of the time factor. I'm a bit of a sucker for things like that, you know. I fill my time up with so much interests, and it has caused me a lot of problems, you know, in my private life. You know, in my personal life, it's caused me a lot of problems. You know, some people just don't seem to get it sometimes, but I can understand it in some ways. But my actual main hobbies that I do is obviously I do the gardening, and I'm a very keen fisherman. I used to do a bit of sea fishing, but it's mainly coarse fishing. All sorts of coarse fishing, and I could quite happily fish every day of the year. But I haven't done very much fishing because there's other commitments, you know, of work, and you can't sort of keep leaving the plot thinking, oh, I'll go next week, because you know it's like, so you turn your back and it goes all wrong. So you have to keep on top of that. It's just finding little windows of opportunity to go and do some fishing, which I intend doing this year. I'm hoping to get the gear cleared up and get on the bank again. Other hobbies, well, I've sort of get rekindled with again after a few years, sort of like not really doing much of it, and that's music. I play the guitar, electric and acoustic, so I've got back into that now, and I've, you know, bought a new sound system and all that lot for, you know, for playing venues hopefully. So that's like a sort of a new goal, you know what I mean, for me. So it's nice to actually pick up the guitar and play quite a bit again. Mainly because my friend Andy, who was in one of my videos, Potato Reveals, I think it was not last year, the year before, he's renewing his wedding vows this year, and he asked me about, you know, if I was interested in doing something, because he plays guitar as well. And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And it's kind of gone from there. You know, he's been on about it for years, about, you know, doing something, you know, together and that. So I thought, well, why not? You know, I mean, I'm coming up 40, so I'm not over the hill yet. So I'd still love to achieve a few things with my music. So why not? Something to do while the weather's bad outside. So that's all them 10. So I think I've covered them pretty much okay, and hope the answers have been clear enough, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you now. Bye.